Summer Showdown. Best of the final. The hottest esports tournament event of the summer. Shanghai Dragons bring the heat after their May Melee reverse sweep to face off against APAC Firecrackers. Guangzhou Charge. Philadelphia Fusion grill up some independents. For season rivals and all-around good team, Paris Eternal. Don't miss Summer Showdown. Best of the final. Exclusively on Best of the Week.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
这双方真的是就抢机一换一啊！
这个试车我觉得不好说啊。好的吧，
完了，对面反手机会要来了。这波机会一丝线，这打死吗？没打死，扎的正严重，还带了两个战士，一屁股直接坐死，我还补了一个星星。
这一波是
赶尽杀绝，
这波是哎，
这波是
他是那个
然后
这一波我在第5层，离开直接旋转了起来，这边Mano 也倒地。
Much like a Winston on the payload, we're back. You can see us. It's no surprise. We're heading into our last match of the night. It's going to be the Chengdu Hunters taking on the New York Excelsior. And on paper, you'd think this is pretty one-sided.
Yeah. You and I are just like laughing so hard about that J-Mac thing during the break. It's like he just ran. He ran all the way to the back line. So he went in the spawn room and grabbed a Guangzhou Charge jersey real quick. He was like, I think I'm on this team now. He's like, I'm pretty done with Lens Spitfire. No one's coming with me. I just keep going by myself. Now I'm just going to go join the Guangzhou Charge. Yeah, I mean, memes aside, I feel bad for the guy. He's had a rough night. But did you just say, though, that you think on paper this would be a closer series?
No, if I said that, my brain was addled. I said, on paper, this is not going to be close.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think, I think this one's going to be, I think this one could be like the first series, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about Chengdu's starting roster. I'm going to kind of break that one down here really quick. It's going to be Jinmu and Leave on the DPS line. But interestingly, very interestingly, Late Young is playing tank, okay? And Langsa is in, actually, in the support role. So, Late Young tank. I mean, I know he's dabbled. He's played Zarya in the past when Zarya was a DPS hero. So that's my guess is we're going to see Among on Rhine, and we're going to see Late Young on the Zarya. I mean, it's a pretty terrifying lineup on paper, right? No. You've got Jinmu on Genji. You've got Leave on Tracer, potentially. And then Late Young Zarya. It's like, well, that's honestly pretty powerful. That's a pretty nice setup, you know? I mean, I still think they come in as massive underdogs here, but it looks scary.
I think you're being too analytical and you're looking at this. The question is, we're looking at a Hunters team that has not won much at all this entire season. All the people want to know is that you're watching New York, and New York, when they lose games in ways that's like, oh my God, like, why have you lost the game this way? Do they enter the Hunter zone? That's all that really matters right now is this going to be one of those quirky, spooky days where Chengdu plays way better than expected? But you look at the New York starting lineup, I don't know. I don't see a ton of weakness here. I mean, I think part of entering the Hunter zone here would be who are you just having one of the worst days ever, which is possible, but perhaps unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the New York Excelsior lineup, who are you is starting over Oxall here, which is, you know, kind of a big surprise, I think, to most people, myself included. Say Bilby is coming in. Not a shock given that we're seeing so much Tracer right now. I mean, it's not like pure Tracer, and he might actually be playing Sombra. We'll have to wait and see, but you know, it's not a huge shocker that he's in over Libero, for example, or Nene. When we go deeper into the series, I think Nene will have to come out because we will have to see Ashe. Everything else, you know, pretty self-explanatory. No Mandu or anything like that. Just going to be Anamo and Jonak, which has kind of been the main support duo for New York for a really long time. Hoppa, a little bit on the inconsistent side in the Summer Showdown tournament bracket, and the preceding matches before that as well, a little bit up and down. So I think Hoppa could be the weak link here for New York Excelsior. Like, might give Chengdu Hunters that opening, especially if Late Young is killing it on the Zarya. That's what I'm worried about for New York.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair point. Although Hoppa is kind of a wild card to begin with, where I feel like Hoppa is another one of those players that has like really, really good series and weekends, and then weekends where Hoppa is nowhere near as good. But I mean, let's not forget, Hoppa does have like some established chops on the DPS side when needed. So if you do put Hoppa onto Zarya, is it the worst thing in the world? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, going again on paper, this should be a 3-0 for New York, no questions asked. But, you know, anytime you play the Hunters, even when you look at the record and go, oh, man, they're 4-14, they don't win. But then you think about the tragic history of New York and the games they do lose, and how Chengdu sometimes wins things they have no business winning. You know, as a New York fan, I'm just looking at this, and I have a little bit of anxiety until the first few maps are over.
Well, I haven't been doing a whole lot of winning this season, unfortunately. 4-14 to New York's 13-5. It's actually a weaker regular season for New York. Crazy as that sounds, at the 13-5. Their 76% win rate, franchise-wide. Like, think about that for a second.
Yeah,
76% win rate franchise-wide. Like, this is the most consistent Overwatch League team. But this is their roughest season. But I still have to favor them coming into this.
New York doesn't lose, unless it's the playoffs. That's just what they do. But the Hunters lead the way in. Amon on Hammond, leave taken down immediately, so the Hunters don't really get much of an opening at all with ball play here. And I'm not sure I'm convinced that the ball play to begin with, like, okay, Amon, you're really good at this hero, but it's 2020, it's not new anymore.
I mean, are we less convinced with the ball play, or are we less convinced with the Pharah play here? Like, Pharah Genji ball is... It has not been ever a thing, and I don't know if it ever will be, especially with the Zarya comp. Like, this is actually kind of absurd now. I mean, Chengdu Hunters have had a bad season. They're pretty vocal about it, too. They're like posting on Weibo like, yo, we're looking for a new coach, by the way. It's been a rough season. But like, this is a bit Chengdu, even for Chengdu standards, okay?
Remember early on in the night where I said, yeah, you're like, oh, we can judge the meta, we'll have a much better idea by match 3. I'm like, yeah, but you don't include Chengdu because God only knows. This is the God only knows that we're seeing here. We're like, yeah, Pharah Genji, let's go. New York's just like, what's going on? Oh, that's a dead Pharah. Samuel B does not care.
I'm not sure if an omniscient could predict, like, even an omniscient being could predict this. And then I'm not sure if an omniscient being could, like, predict that also Jinmu would stay on the Pharah after losing the first team fight versus a McCree D.Va composition, but let's see how this barrage goes. Let's see how it goes. Like, I mean, this is not a good start. Let's be real here. We're gonna watch a replay of Say Bilby, I think, knocking this far out of the sky at distance.
Well, it might be the double far out of the sky because you're seeing the far out of the sky in the replay, but now you look in the live feed. Jinmu's going in. The barrage is ready. Q to respawn is potentially ready to go, and Amon's just immediately dead. No hope. Barrier used early.
Look at this angle.
Yeah, this is kind of nice. Looking for any skull. Barrage comes down, takes down Mono. But that's it. That's not entirely worth, as it turns out.
Yeah, well, that's the end of that one. Leaves Blade. Does he even get to use it? That's the question. He's going to pull it.
Yeah.
They have Coalescence.
Chengdu just kind of reminds me of like the guy at Vegas that's lost like his entire life savings. He's still for the craps table. He's just like, one more roll, baby! And it's just as equally tragic.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't it, team.
No.
I have to, like, I don't think I've ever cast an Overwatch game like this where I look at it and I go, like, I don't know if I have a positive thing to say here. Now, I like the late young coming in if they're going to play Zarya, okay? I will say that. And I appreciate the, like, the concept of, okay, we're going to run Zarya comps here. Zarya's meta. Late Young is a really good Zarya player. He always has been, even before he was Overwatch League eligible. So it's kind of like putting Sparkle on Zarya. If that happens, which it might happen later on, you might see that. Don't be shocked because he's an insane Zarya player. I'm looking at this and I'm like, you're still running Pharah into McCree and the D.Va. New York kind of, I think, sussed this out. They figured it out early. The comp they run is smart. Let's see how they adapt now. They still have the Wrecking Ball out here, so
Go
you know,
Pharah.
I'm feeling like, yeah, I don't know about this one.
Embrace the madness, Wolf. Let it take you. And hey,
okay, there you go.
Down There you go. That's all you needed. The crazier you get, the more energy that Chengdu gets in return. This is how you make New York lose.
Well, I mean, if Sabilby's down, you have a lot of potential as the Pharah here. I mean, the D.Va could do a lot, but not enough to shut you down. You're going to get the first cap here if you're Hunters. They actually don't have anyone on the point, though.
They get the pile drivers aside. Okay, the problem that Chengdu has now is that New York, it's like we're running a Rhine, you're running a ball. We're just going to swing the hammer on the point and trade out a lot more efficiently.
With a Moira, too, you know? I mean, it makes it really hard to actually collapse in on the point. I think they should have had someone capping earlier. Wow, they won the first fight, had total control of the Pharah, and still ended up losing out here. And that just goes to show it's not even about the McCree, it's not even about the D.Va. The comp is just dated. Well, I don't even know if dated is the correct word. It's just not right.
It's just not right.
It's just not right. Like, I don't know if the word irregular is, like, the right word for this either. Like, I want to say incorrect. I want to use words like wrong.
You don't want to be definitive, though, because, like, who knows? Maybe it shifts to the meta. Maybe we're the ignorant savages right now. But it's not working. We've just died a mile away from his team. Okay, Mono gets sniped out by Amon. Jinmu drops a barrage on the side, deals the mech. Chengdu, the real opportunity now, and okay, Jinmu lands some good pickoffs, and okay, this is how much New York is disrespecting Chengdu. They drop the beat while still down people because they think that they can still win on the inside and delay their comp and hop on the back.
Yeah, their comp, they think it's better. I mean, it is, but I don't know if it's that much better.
Yeah, I don't know if it's better than, like, drop the beat when you're down 2 people. Like, this is New You know, I'm not going to resurrect old terms talking about bag stand or anything, but I don't even feel like New York felt like, we can't be bothered. And you lose the fight because
I mean, to be fair, they were having they had a lot of ultimates that were about to come online. Like, if they had survived a little bit longer, they would have had a blade, they would have coalescence. I don't know about,
what is Hoppa there?
What is happening here?
I don't understand. Hoppa's just like, oh.
Is this a show match? Like, are we in All-Stars? Do we time travel? Like, no, I don't know about that one. But they regrouped, they put Sabilby on the Sombra. They're trying to look for that EMP team fight now. I mean, they can blade now, but I mean, they're looking for the EMP fight to close the map.
Okay, who are you? Just got chunked. Zero respect given. Chengdu is coming back into the game, and well, I think it's that crazy Chengdu energy. It's just like coming back into the fold. New York tragically underestimating their opponents. Chengdu finding pickoffs, and suddenly Chengdu's back in this round.
I mean, Chengdu, literally these 6 players on these roles, I mean, with the exception of Langsa, I mean, he's pretty good at Lucio, but like otherwise, you're looking at 5 players on like their main hero, like their best hero ever, arguably, historically. And if you don't respect that, even though the comp is potentially arguably inferior, I mean, Sabilby swapped off the McCree, you are going to get burned.
Grav Toneden, Hoppa deals with the grab. Okay, this is angry New York, where it just Sabilby just yelling over comms like, no, we're going to take this seriously. Eat the grab, move on to the point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Barrage is ready. They have, I mean, 5 ultimates here. They had 6. The grab was eaten. They have to be decisive here. There's no sound barrier. I think that the go time is like, as soon as Hoppa is out of position for the Matrix, Jinmu should go in. They need to use the blade first. Oh, this is not the time for a replay.
This is, all right, I'm focusing on the lower right in full. And Amon's already dead, by the way. Like, Amon got picked off early in this next fight. Not the past, not the future, but the present. And now Jinmu. Amon still not quite back. Jinmu looking for the barrage, and okay, New York's just about here. They got to touch a point, and why isn't your far Mercy? I guess because Amon's out of the fight. Drops a barrage to the side. He has a decent amount as lead on the side of the blade. All right, Chengdu's still in it.
Well, here's the thing, though. They that was a really good fight, and I actually liked how Leave came in at the other side. So they had this like double threat from both angles that New York had to deal with, which made Hoppa's life really difficult. But now New York's coming through with the EMP blade. I think Chengdu should almost take a fight off the point. Like, if they just wait here for New York to show up, like, hey, what's up? I'm sorry I'm a little late to the party, but I got an EMP, a blade, and a sound barrier, and a coalescence to come online in the late fight. Chengdu just will roll over and die.
Who are you? What are you doing? You got picked off by Amon. All you had to do was stay alive for the EMP. Well, Leave's still dead. There's still a chance here for New York, but they're down 2, and Sabilby now got to force a real good EMP, and the fall through, I mean, it's not going to be there the way it would be if HooRyu was there right now. I think they're trying to stall for HooRyu to get back in point. There's the barrier. EMP, HooRyu's back on in. Graviton Mono stuck. Mono moving it away, and Guryu's blade, better late than never, finds Lengsa.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, Amon couldn't get in there quickly enough. That was a map of professional Overwatch CP. You and I commentated. For you, it's what time is it in the morning now? Over there, it's like 4:35, right?
Oh no, it's like close to the 6. Like.
Oh, that's right. You're not in LA.
No. Oh no. Definitely not
Lucky.
in LA.
Oh.
My money goes a little bit further up here. It just, you know, there's snow in the wintertime, which isn't great.
Okay. All right, so.
Yes.
I hope Chengdu plays more meta comps after this map. That was a cool. You know, we like to use the creative or like interesting strategy, right, as commentators. But I would like to see more meta composition. I want to see them challenge New York, you know, in a real, literal sense, and not a. That felt like Chengdu picking a really cool lineup. They're playing Zarya for. They're putting Zarya in there for late young, but then you're like, everyone just pick your favorite heroes and let's play this game. that was hard to watch, I think, in a lot of ways for Chengdu fans.
Yeah, I mean, that was also a morale game, though. You know, let people play what they want to play. Like, just free yourself from the meta. You know, don't be shackled. Just, you might not win a whole lot. But yeah, on that profound thought, it's New York up 1-0 over Chengdu. We'll see if Chengdu does return to normalcy or continues to surprise when we get back from the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
New York Excelsior besting the Chengdu Hunters in what could be best described as a crazy map one, just not in the crazy in the normal way, crazy in the more like, those compositions were crazy. Or as you said, Wolf, it's just not right.
It's just not right. I could imagine some Chengdu fans pulling their hair out watching that one. Because you're excited, right? If you're a Chengdu fan, you know all these players' best heroes, and and one part of you is like, oh my god, you mean I get to see Late Young on Zarya? Oh, we got Jinmu on Pharah, and you're like, okay, this is really cool. This is really cool. And you're like, oh, look, Among is on a Wrecking Ball, and Evil Doll's over there on the Mercy, and you're like, this is like my dream. But then you see like Stay Bilby is just like, nah. I mean, McCree like just shoots Pharah, and this is not the meta. And Genji doesn't work with this, and you're like, oh yeah, it actually like this is my fantasy is ruined by reality.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those scenes in a movie where they like hype up the protagonist. And they're like, oh, everything's going so well. It's like a big scene. Like everyone's looking all muscled, toned, fit. They walk in, and then you don't even see the battle. You just see them all dejected in the locker room, beaten up, shells of their former selves. And it's kind of what we saw a moment ago with Chengdu and New York.
You know, it's like the daydreaming scene in like in a cartoon or like one of those like. Yeah. You know, one of those old like 90s movies where like it's like the janitor's got a mop, but then like in his head he's actually Pharah and he's flying and he's like, this is I'm so cool, like I'm Pharah, I'm flying, I'm like this is gonna be so great, I'm gonna barrage them, and then the daydream stops and it's like just the janitor with the mop.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
on the floor.
Jinmu is like literally one of the best Pharah players in the world. He's at least top 4 Pharah, if not better. But it doesn't like if you go against the meta that hard and your opponent predicts it and then counters it, like you're gonna have a bad time. So there are substitutions. We'll get into them as we go into this game. We do have Late Young is out. Okay, Else is in, right? A-Ting is in over Among, and you have Molly in for flex support. So you put all those things together, and you're like, okay, maybe meta comps, possibly.
Maybe, possibly. Although
at least what we know as the meta for now.
Well, if another analogy to all this, it kind of reminds us, like, you're watching a Zerg player in StarCraft, right? And you're like, oh my god, like, this guy has the best Zergling micro I've ever seen. He's so good at microing Zerglings. And then he goes up against a Terran player, just like, he only uses Zerglings. And the man only builds fire bats. So you just go, stop throwing Zerglings at the fire bats, please.
Yeah, or perhaps in this case, like, the Terran just makes a supply depot wall, and the Zerglings can't even get in. It doesn't matter how good your Zergling controls if they can't come inside, right?
I mean, you can hit the wall and just do nothing, I suppose. Die to like 4 Marines in the bunker.
There's another sub, by the way, notably Nene in for Sabielby. So this is kind of what I expected to see after we saw that lineup at the start. And Nene's going to be playing the Ashe. This makes a lot of sense. Who are you? Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if this is a reference to what we saw from Jinmu earlier, or if this is actually just going to be a swap. It is. I'm surprised to see Nene on the Tracer, though, or excuse me, on the Sombra. I thought we'd see the Ashe for sure if he's in like this.
I have wondered if it's for scouting, but I think it was for scouting. It already swapped out, so all right. New York going for the Sombra. And I think New York, no matter what, is still taking this super seriously. Mainline strats, everything. But this is a slower play versus Chengdu, where, you know, I don't think they have to go for the Sombra, but all right, they want to go for it. Oh, no, Jinmu. Oh, no! Well, just when you think he's out, he's back in, and then out. So, you're down to Genji, New York up 6-5. A little bit tough right now for Chengdu.
Yeah, I mean, this is not, it's not the worst hero to lose when you're on defense, and he can come back fairly quickly, but things kind of start to fall apart after that. Leaves about to have a Bob, that's going to give them a little more staying power. I don't think New York can cap until they get more. Well, they get more.
New York being very decisive in these dives, and oh, we go to point B.
The mono on Winston is actually just one of my favorite things to watch. I know he's in Overwatch League at least a lot more known for his Rhine, but I mean last year in GOATS he was the most phenomenal Winston GOATS player. He is so good at playing this composition with dive. He's patient, but then is able to. Everyone on Chengdu is falling apart. Everyone's low health, and he just runs into the room like, you know, he's just grabbing the kills like they belong to him. He's not even. It's not even. It's effortless. Like the way he moves around on this hero with the rest of his team.
Under a little bit of pressure, Manu ends up getting the Discord orb, uses the primal right away, and I mean, I just look at this and wonder. I'll save it for later. I'll save it for later. As New York is about to head on in. Leave right now. New York right now, they wait for the EP, they drop the EP, they get 3. Here comes Who Are You looking for the blade, and Mono takes down 2 just as it begins. And I think it's safe to say it, but you know, would Mono have won the 1v6 versus Charge? Do you think he has the difference maker there? No.
I don't know.
You put Mono on that payload.
I don't know if
You tell me he's not walking away at the W.
I think Mono is a stronger Winston because he wouldn't go to the payload by himself, you know, but that's just me.
All right, fair enough. The Hunters desperately trying to delay here. Transcend out of Molly. The prayer time is over. The pain beginning once again. Leave immediately down. Who are you? Just dashing to and fro, and I mean the Hunters doing an alright job of stopping here, but there's a lot of blue in the kill feed, not a lot of white, except on the part of dying blades heavily.
Yeah, I mean this is a bit of a stall out with Molly's late trance coming through, but they do eventually fall here. And you know, the other thing that was crazy about this too, if we go back and watch the first push, was that it was really carefully executed, Nene's EMP, where he wanted to catch Molly no matter what. He kind of zoned him out and then EMP'd him just to make sure his trance couldn't go off. The problem for Molly was even further than that, was that he was only at about like 78% of his transcendence when Nene made all these sick plays to deny trance no matter what and push him away. I mean, it was such a one-sided first grab on A from New York with the kill there on Jinmu, which really started to kind of snowball things into their favor. Mono's great play in that side room. The primal for Mono on the attack was actually like a little bit haphazard. Like it wasn't perfect. He didn't get a ton of value out of it. He was discorded, but it helped set up the EMP, which ended up being phenomenal. And then they just cleaned everything up from there. It's a bit surprising that we see Who Are You in over Haksal, because there's been so many opportunities for Who Are You to play Genji over him. But I wonder if it's just because New York just says, look, man, if we're going to let you play over Haksal, it's going to be against Chengdu.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say is that, yeah, I think logically that all makes sense that you'd be playing Haksal right here. But if you believe in Who Are You's potential, and Who Are You's potential I still think is like crazy high, and you go, well, he's making bad mistakes in match situations, you know, you throw him in here versus the Hunters. Now, given that the Hunters are running crazy non-meta comps, I'm not sure how valuable that is as practice versus like Shanghai or something, but, you know, it still makes sense.
Well,
also
it's
there's
going to
an
be,
Echo.
Yeah, Echo here, interesting choice. Very risky because Ashe can prevent a lot of what you're trying to accomplish as Echo on Anubis. But it can be quite strong as well if you end up getting a really nice clone when you get onto the point, duplicate the and you get a second primal. That's actually quite terrifying.
Well, also I think Echo just being on the field in general forces Mono to be a little bit more conservative, right? Like if you dive in as Wince and get below the Echo, if the Echo's there, is going to destroy it. But it beams down Jonak with the assassination. Now Mono goes, I'm below half HP. Don't have to worry about the focusing beam. Totally fine. Jonak still pays a price for it, and Jinmu with 2. Hunters with a little bit of momentum here, and it's not one yet, but this puts New York in a real bind on point A.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to stabilize here, I think. Namo has Valkyrie. The Hunters, the problem with the Hunters is the Echo doesn't allow you to just start snowballing this out of control. It's not a hero that can just say, okay, well, we're going to run away with this. And now, you know, everyone's from New York is kind of regrouped.
Yeah, Hunters didn't feel comfortable pushing in and using respawn in, man. They just wanted to get a full 6 and let New York get back up to a full 6. Anima with the Valkyrie under a lot of pressure from the Echo. Dashes away, and while that's going on, you look at the ground war. Nene gets the back, deals with Molly. New York just gets slowly pushed forward. Now the Resurrection does come out, but you look at Chengdu right now. Chengdu's split all around, and Who Are You's blade about ready to come in.
Yeah, Who Are You actually catches up.
Who Are You? Nice deflect. Oh! Takes down Jinmu, stops the blade of his own. I'd say Overwatch League is an anime, but that was pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, Elsa's gonna get staggered here, but Who Are You shuts the blade down, sees his window, and during the blade animation, you're like, well, I can't miss my dash. It's just not gonna happen. Goes in, gets that kill. Everyone's on the same page on the side of New York Excelsior. Jonak's discords have been overall, I think, a lot cleaner than Molly's. Molly was like discording Anamo when he was at 10% health on Valkyrie. They couldn't kill him, but why leave your discord orb on a character who's going to die to any hit? You know, you don't need the discord there. It should have been switched over to Mono long ago. Let's watch this again, actually, from Who Are You's perspective. He sees he's low, and he's like, nope.
Yeah, it was a really good dash where you take a look lower right. The fight is already in. Who Are You's getting really low in the next fight. Nene, though, lands the pulse bomb, takes down Vental early on in the fight, and okay, you're down your Mercy, and just gets rougher and rougher here for Chengdu. Clone to Winston, double trouble. little bit of double primal, perhaps. He taking a long time to build it, just getting bopped around by the true Winston, the non-clone. Primal comes out late, Jonak with Transcendence, and Hunters again just look discombobulated.
Yeah, the problem with this clone too is it's too late.
Jonak doesn't care, takes the battle versus the Echo. And Chengdu, I mean, they're still kind of throwing onto a point. They dealt with Mono, it's not over. Final 40 seconds, but it's just so scrappy right now.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching Jonak's perspective here too, because you can see based on his line of sight who he chooses to discord. Yeah, sometimes it's the Mercy because that's all he's got, but it's otherwise pretty intelligent.
Got him. The slow thread, the sneaky bomb from Hoppa finds Jinmu, but okay, falling Elsa. Don't want to lose on point A here, not necessarily. Resurrection coming in, brings Jinmu back up. Chengdu now, a pretty big advantage. You have 18 out of the fight, but
who are you though?
Who are you? Where are you? That's enough. Jinmu,
He might actually be able to save this point.
Yeah, I mean, both Genjis have blade. Jinmu got cut down where he stood.
Oh, they're going for it.
Oh, Kuryu's down. Jinmu, immediate revenge, comes back from the grave. The anime story continues, and Chengdu stays alive for at least one more point.
Well, I think the protagonist of this anime story is going to be Mono, man. The golden boy, the student that always does the right thing and has superpowers, because he's about to have a primal. He's holding this team down. They're holding this defense down insanely well. The rest of the team is playing around him perfectly. Jonak is setting up insane discords. And this next fight, New York has all the tools. And they're just going to watch Jinmu get the kill this time onto Who Are You?
Or no, that was where he got blown up by the...
Yeah.
But also, the fight has begun. Leave brings up the Winston. On deck. Still waiting. New York just trying to buy time here. Waited up. Mono gets the primal just in time! That was so ridiculously close! Mono nearly falling first, but stays alive. And, well, if Mono's not falling, no one else is. New York continues to hold. That was a crazy time primal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if it was necessary, to be honest, but...
You don't give the other team hope. You just stay alive. You need to use a primal where maybe you didn't need to.
New York has... I mean, they have used a lot of their tools, but that fight went a little bit longer, so, like, Who Are You's got another blade halfway there. I don't really think the Echo is doing what they're trying to set out to do with it. You're supposed to be able to threaten Mono. I think it's kind of an anti-Winston pick, like you were saying. Try to get him to half health, force him back. I mean, her left click is even almost like a Reaper, mini Reaper gun in a way, the damage output it has, but I don't know. Dupes aren't effective.
And it was down, and 18 gets caught, and New York, they just dive in. One elimination, all it takes for New York to just flip the switch, move in, and end the fight. And look, I mean, let's restake the stakes in the map right now. New York, they speed ran out of their offense in a 4-minute, 13-second time bank. Hunters right now, a minute left to go, and potentially running into a blender here.
Yeah, I mean, Leave, like, he swaps off the Echo to a Tracer super late at, like, I think about 50% of his ult charge he was at. I would love to see a comparison between his damage output and Nene's damage output. Like, I think Nene would probably be tripling his damage or so. Like, he's just not been effective on the Echo. It's such a late swap, too.
Where he used Blade, hit a lot of air for the most part. Gives a little bit of cardio back towards the point, but it doesn't matter because Mono got to the back with Hoppa. The front line taking measures into their own hands, a little bit of support from Nene.
I just don't, like, pushes like this that are super disjointed. You have to wonder what the idea was. I mean, there's 3 different attacks happening simultaneously for Chengdu, and New York just comes in as one. One fist beats 5 separate fingers, man. I mean, I don't know.
No, there's not a plan here, Wolf. You're thinking too deeply. There's feelings. You react. You just let your body react on itself. Chengdu's trying to develop Ultra Instinct as we speak. That's what they're going for right now, and I mean, all right, they're getting completely destroyed, but okay.
Okay, this time though, yeah, this is a good push.
Yeah. Elsa gets Nene. Chengdu, they're hearing the theme music start to play, and they're moving on in. New York, however, Mono still delaying. Jonak comes out on the Transcendence. Molly's out of the fight, and New York, the music stopped. It turned dramatic in the worst way. Who Are You gets 2. And New York, real close to holding Chengdu off here.
You could not be allowed to go kill 3 people in the back line while Chengdu gets the first pick. That could not happen. and it happened. And, like, the map is over. I'm, like, sitting on my chair thinking that things are going to keep happening. And, like, I'm in my casting chair, not my camera chair, like, thinking, like, all right, so, like, what happens next? Like, let's talk about comps. I'm like, oh, wait, no, it just ended.
Yeah.
That's
it's
just
2-0 New York. You might have blinked, could have missed it. But, yeah, I mean, Chengdu definitely ran a setup that was more respectable there. But you brought it up mid-match. And the Echo, you got to go back to the Echo. And wasn't a great map for the Echo. Did not perform anywhere near as well as I think Nene did on the Tracer, and I mean I think it was the best observation you had in the map, and it's hard to argue against it.
Yeah, there's some things we're gonna have to break down when we go to our halftime coming up here. Some things we're gonna have to talk about, ZP, me and you. Everyone's gonna have to listen. We're gonna have to have a little chat.
Well, you know, we have our sponsored segments. We need to talk about how crunchy things are, and that's what we're gonna do right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Zip Chair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
Jonak is a monster.
Can't keep getting away with this. He can't keep getting away with this!
Snapped ankles on that boy.
Unbelievable! You're not allowed to do that. That's bonkers.
Okay, Jonak, just doing his thing as per usual.
That was an absolutely bonkers play from Jonak.
Jonak just wrecks them, hoses them down.
Jonak doing what Jonak does.
Jonak goes ham. It's like having a third DPS player in at all times.
Jonak comes to life, says, I will do it by myself. It's just unfair. When I grow up, I want to be Jonak.
It's game break time, presented by Pringles Wavy. We got here pretty quickly, all in all, and Wolf, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there is.
Well, It's not going to unpack itself, Wolf. We must delve into the mysteries, into the Lovecraftian horror that we have seen here tonight.
I'm just trying to let you wave me into it. You know what I mean?
I mean, wave you into it. I mean, this is more like, I don't know what you think I am, but this would be the bird just like pushing the offspring directly out of the nest. Like that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just going to throw you straight into it, which brings us into our crunch time, presented by Pringles Wavy. Wolf, explain Chengdu.
Waving me into it. All right, so Chengdu, I do wonder about where Chengdu's mentality's at. We know publicly they posted that they're looking for a new coach at the moment. When you see something like that posted like publicly, it almost feels like it's telling the fans like, look, we know there are problems. Okay, this is not a good season for us. And I think it's important that everyone acknowledge that Chengdu's even been public that they're like looking for a new coach and things aren't going well. And then you see the plays that we're seeing, like we saw in Game 1, where there's just no, I don't think no offense to Chengdu in any way, but like even a Gold League player could look at those like, compositions and go like, well, I don't know about this, And I get it. They're trying something different. They're trying to break out of the meta. They're playing some of these players' best heroes, but this is the Overwatch League. These are the best 20 teams that investors and GMs and coaches have built and spent tons of money on, right? And have built into like an elite best teams in the Overwatch League, and what we're seeing from Chengdu just doesn't reflect that. So it makes me sad because I look all 6 players, or even I'll expand it to like all the players who played today, even and all of them. And I look at it and I see, and let's even throw Bacon Jack in there, insanely talented, extremely high potential players who played better earlier this season. They played better last year. I don't know what's going on, but I want this team to do better because I know the potential is like 5 times better than what we are seeing in this series right now. And I just want to see the Chengdu Hunters that made me like jump out of my seat and smile and laugh last year and earlier this year. And I don't know what's going on, but it's been a while since they've won a series, and they're not taking very many maps away.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how the Hunters really built a lot of their fan base, right? They were a team that was willing to take risks at a time where a lot of people looked at the current meta, the 3-3, the GOATs, whatever you want to call it. I mean, look how it is. Everyone call it GOATs. You can say 3-3 all you want. GOATs is how people looked at it. And, it's a team that people really enjoyed watching. But now we've kind of hit the 2-2-2 era where everyone is running different forms of DPS. And, Chengdu, it's almost like their identity is like everyone has that one friend they play games with, right? That friend that goes, no, I'm not doing that thing. I'm not looking at the guide. I'm doing everything my own way. And on one level, I feel like everyone respects that friend. Like, he's doing that. But then that's also the friend you kind of exclude from your serious games. You're like, yeah, I know, I really like him, but if I play ladder with this guy, I'm just going to lose. Like, he just has crazy ideas that he keeps going through. And, you kind of get sad because you're looking at him and you're just like, no, like, I know there's so much potential here. Like, this person's a god gamer. I just need you, just once, to look at how everyone else is playing the game and playing that way. And I think that's where some of the frustration comes from when you watch a Chengdu game.
I think they've inspired a lot of Overwatch gamers who are like that one friend, I think Among playing Wrecking Ball last year was, I think, very inspiring for those Wrecking Ball players out there whose teammates tell them, like, no, play Ryan, we need a shield tank, right? And you see people like Among in the pro scene and you think, he's like me, right? And he doesn't do what the laws of the meta say. He doesn't do what everyone else is doing. Chengdu doesn't play like that. And I think that's why they have a lot of fans. But, there are limits to what you can do in that regard. Like, Chengdu made their own meta last year that was kind of anti-GOATs. They're playing a little bit of Pharah. They're playing the Wrecking Ball. But it was strong against GOATs. And a lot of other teams were playing that too. It wasn't just Chengdu. But they kind of tried to perfect it. They tried to go against the grind. But what we saw in that honestly, the first map was like the opposite of perfection. Like, it didn't even look like it had been that well prepared. It was a mess, right? And it's not the same thing. And I don't know what else to say except, like, I don't want to spend this crunch time, like, trying to be like, well, Chengdu, they should have run this and they were running this one hero, but, like, it's really good in this situation. But I think we just all have to address the elephant in the room. Like, is Chengdu's season over? Like, is this just it? Like, how do they bounce back? Can they bounce back? Do they want to bounce back? Like, should we be looking at 2021? I mean, I'm left with more questions than answers from this series so far.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. And I mean, the one upside, if you want to be the guy in the back who goes, well, actually, well, it's like, okay, teams are getting to playoffs no matter what, but it's like, it's still, you want to go in with as high a seeding as possible. You don't want to make the road tough, and you got to look at trends, and you wonder where's the breaking point, if it's going to be the season or not. But, all we could do is watch, and hey, within the series, there is still the potential for a reverse sweep. Will Chengdu just reverse fortune in full, or will New York just continue the relentless assault and make it a sweep? We'll find out just after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
And we're back where, as mentioned from halftime, it has been a one-sided series so far. New York up 2-0 over Chengdu. And no, as me and Wolf were just talking about during the in-between break, this isn't where Chengdu can flip the script and come out on goats, run 3-3, be like, we've broken it all. We've become what we hated. But no, I mean, this is where Chengdu, they have to dig deep, Wolf, and if they have any answers to give, now's the time.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real, they're not going to win this next map, probably, right?
No, probably not.
But what I don't want to see is another crazy comp where it's just okay, well, this was fun for the fans. It almost felt like the first game one felt like fan service, and I think that's it's kind of insulting to the fans, actually, in a weird way. I want to see them try with the meta comp and try their best and, try to go toe-to-toe with New York, which seems unlikely, but I want to see them try it. If we're going to watch them lose, that's how I want to watch them lose. I want to watch them win, actually, but given what we've seen so far, it seems unlikely. But I don't want to see some, crazy wonky comps. We are going to Havana, which I'm not sure, because homestands were a really long time ago, but I don't think I've cast Havana this year. So I'm excited to cast on it. I'm excited to see what Chengdu's ideas about Havana are. It should be fun on paper.
I'm just trying to think. I'm racking my brain right now. Obviously, we watch a lot of Overwatch between Overwatch League and various other Overwatch programs, but have we seen Havana this year? I mean, if we have, it's been a long time, I think is the accurate answer. Whether it was any time, not really sure. But I mean, Havana's an interesting map, right, as far as escort maps go and, snowball potential. It's not quite as crazy swingy as Gibraltar is, and it's also a map that historically has a lot of Widow domination, and, well, there's no Widow in the pool right now, so you do get a different look at Havana, even relative to the historical norm. Yeah,
I think Ashe can kind of fit the role for now, but we'll see how Genji ends up playing here, because there's a lot of open space, This is such a weird situation, by the way, with Chengdu being 4-14, having a pretty decent start to the season. Like some of those wins in the 4, like I believe even beating Shanghai Dragons one of their earlier matches when Asia actually started. Just remember Asia started like a little bit later than everybody else. Some impressive wins at the start, but like to fall this far, we've almost never seen anything like this in like Korea and Overwatch. And I know Chengdu's not a Korean team, but like when you think about historically contenders in Korea when that was an offline league, and when you think about APAC, it was very rarely a team that kind of competed with the Korean teams that just like got so owned. You think about Flash Lux, you think about when Fnatic came to Korea and played in APAC, like it was a pretty rough time for them, but
yes,
we haven't seen like anything like this in a while. And I think it can be demotivating as Jonak's just not interested in playing anymore, man. Like,
Jonak just pieced out. Of course this was coming. It was just anytime you decide to cast with Wolf, Blizzard, you would think it'd be covered under contracts, but Blizzard actually sends you an additional like release form going like, so this man is known for long pauses. You may or may not be stuck in an eternal segment of fill. And I had to sign that, fax it in. It's real tough now that no one is working close to each other. But, yeah. But this is the Wolf experience.
I was already ready. Like, I had pre-planned to make this joke on air. I was like, by the way, ZP, like, I was casting today, we had no pauses. That's, like, never happened before. That's not true. I think I've had a few casts this season with no pauses in online. Because online, vehicle of esports and all that. Yeah, it wouldn't be a cast of me if there wasn't a pause.
No.
Well, we could talk about we could talk about Chengdu more,
Yes, I could. We've changed the narrative to be very real and very sad, so like we could continue to just feel more and more sad at the entire situation, or we can talk about New York, even though people look at it like, New York's good, that's boring, but New York's still really good, as expected.
Yeah, I mean, who are you is, I think, the most interesting part of all of this, to be honest. Like, who are you performing this well on Genji, and starting over Hawksall is one of the more exciting parts, I think, for a lot of New York fans. Among's going to have to zip out of there. We have Late Young back in, by the way. No Pharah this time, though. And Molly stays in, too.
And also, I mean, it's interesting for Chengdu because this is a map you can't play Pharah on, maybe not in this meta. Jonak comes back into the lobby after disconnecting and goes, yeah, I'm ready. Takes down lead, gets the early pick off. Puts Chengdu in a tougher spot.
Lei Young with some really nice energy management here. He's actually super charged up. Closing the gap to kill these players is going to be tough while he's at this window of 90 plus, but as the payload gets closer, he's going to have more opportunities to beam Hoppa down and start really doing some crazy damage if he can keep this up. They're getting shoved back so hard by Jonak, though. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, this is where Jonak's just like, all right, I'm treating this as a pub game. Time to walk forward, remind people why I think I'm the MVP. People don't want to give it to me 2 seasons in a row, and just takes down the Mercy. Yeah, it's just Jonak things. What more can you say?
Among almost took out Mono. He had the Discord Orb and everything, but he survives, and this might just be A.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty close. Chengdu, I mean, there's just been a Zen putting in enormous amounts of damage. Already has Transcendence built. So is Molly. But Blade, Jinbu not getting a whole lot done. Jonak transcending a little bit towards the end of it, where he finds Molly. And I mean, this is a fight where you look at the neutral game. We talked about it a lot in the last series, but New York's not even being challenged at all here. Well, at most, Chengdu's just buying a little bit of time.
I mean, Who Are You is just so accurate. I mean, he's at 27 health, but no one can even touch him. Grab comes out here.
New York did finish it off in time, but have a ton. They make the latter part a little bit more contested.
1v1 on the point.
Yeah,
no items. Among used items, that's not fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, New York just waited too long to finish things off there. It was all New York until it wasn't. And they
I think they
should
have regrouped. Yeah, I think they regrouped a little bit earlier. I mean, Who Are You is at 27 health, getting dash reset kills, and I think they just thought, okay, well, we got this in the bag, but they didn't. They have it in the bag now, though, because they have ults. And Who Are You, as long as he doesn't get blown up by this Discord. Here comes the Blade.
Well,
he does get blown up.
He does get blown up. Who Are You? A little bit too careless. We got the Bob. Wow, the series has it all. Bob fight. But Bob's gone. Your sacrifice will probably not be remembered. Let's be real. We'll be right now on the poking. And I mean, the storyline here is that New York's 1 minute away from getting held on first, despite all the zaniness.
Oh man, this is actually looking really good for Chengdu suddenly. Jenak has to be rezzed. He does not have a trance.
Oh, taken down. That was about 1 slash away from being far more devastating for Chengdu. But
yeah,
New York still has to push forward.
And New York needs to regroup. They're like trying to win this 4v6 instead of 6v6. It feels like at times. Like just get everybody back together and go for one push. We've got only 30 seconds left at this point. You got to play around the trance.
New York hasn't been showing proper respect. Okay, they punish Among. Now this is where conceivably you would group up and go in together. And look, I mean, Chengdu even has to do an early transcend, but Anamo gets caught. Jinmu makes something happen out of nothing, and okay, Jinmu ends up falling for it. But while this is going on, New York doesn't feel comfortable heading to the point.
Well, they need to in 10 seconds. Here's the Bob.
Yeah. One would think. But they go in, it's not all together. Who Are You and Sadie will be immediately get caught, and Chengdu about ready to hold here in Havana. Mono, Primal Rage, one of the last ones around on point, takes down Late Young. Of course, it's Mono on a Valiant last stand right now. 300 HP, bouncing up and down, bring payload like a trampoline. Jonak gets Jinmu of all pickoffs. Jonak's down. They still need presence here on the point, and lead back into the twist. New York is definitely not out of the woods here as the Chengdu reinforcements come back in. Play for
Who Are You's insane. They're actually going to do this? What? I cannot believe that just happened. They did it. The immortality field, Anamo's immortality field saved the day. He saved Mono with a long-range frisbee. Like he's playing the ultimate frisbee with that long-range immortality field. He sets Mono up to survive. Who Are You comes back in, gets some dash resets, gets a blade. Wow. And the Hunters just cannot hold on to the point. That was, I cannot believe that full hold did not happen. They were, I mean, they had everything under control until that moment.
That was just such a strange fight from beginning to end. And okay, Save will be caught by Molly, Chengdu Hunters. Up that advantage. They drop the Graviton on point again. Tip the ball for there. Come on. A little bit of a pile driver towards the end. And I want to say one thing that's been consistently good for the Hunters here. They've been getting value off the grabs here, Wolf.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, Late Young is actually we talked about how good his Zarya is. And having him subbed in on this map, I mean, they're actually playing a real comp, sort of, with Wrecking Ball notwithstanding. But, I mean, the Wrecking Ball functions as the Winston in, like, our quote-unquote meta comp. But, I mean, look, I mean, it's working. His energy management's been out of this world. He's building fast grabs. The grabs have been good. Molly is also not having a bad time. I mean, Jonak is doing a more effective damage, but I feel like Molly is positionally doing a lot for his team. He's healing a lot more than Jonak.
I think the damage has actually been pretty close. It's just pickoffs. Jonak gets more raw pickoffs. He's been building pretty quickly. Yeah. On the other end, Who Are You's down early again. Caught and down.
Opposite, no!
Oh boy. New York. Still looking to fight this back. I mean, I will say one thing. Who Are You needs to calm down. I feel like Who Are You in a lot of these fights has just been kind of throwing himself in. And, look, Chengdu's been playing sloppy, but you can't do that. Like, they will punish you.
I just love Hoppa taking the bullet there, man. When Among was trying to finish off Jonak, Hoppa said no. He's at 100 energy right now. Like, Hoppa's about to take this game into his hands.
Get down, Mr. President. Secret Service has arrived. Jinmu's out of the fight. Might not be wrong about Hoppa just grab the game here. Also, Who Are You has Discord Orb on him. This is where Who Are You likes to dive in. Blade soon be ready. But you look at the HP here. It's kind of the saga of, does Who Are You dive in and die? Low HP, almost hitting the prophecy wall. Very close.
Yeah, sometimes he dives in and gets 4 kills, though, and saves the day. I think this might be one of those times.
Well,
they've got to stick to the point.
We're about to get an answer. Jonak's down. Who Are You? The signal is out. Your team is dying all around you. The blade. And you're gone. Late Young is there. not really who are you's fault, by the way. I mean, people have died of long fans.
But Jonak got caught off by himself and was killed. He could have tranced in, but he was playing greedy. Perhaps he either probably thought, A, one of his teammates was going to swoop in and save him. Maybe he thought he was going to get a bubble and then a heal from Mercy. I think the bubble is actually already used, though. Or B, he thought maybe he could just fight his way back through. He just didn't want to use the trance, though. He wanted to save it. And he was greedy. He died. And slightly out of position as well. Kind of on him, kind of on his team at the same time. Chengdu Hunters making some good punish plays. But yeah, I kind of agree. Like, Late Young has been... He's been hitting them hard. He's been managing his energy well. He might be the strongest player on this roster, on this map, you know, like in terms of effectiveness. Molly's playing pretty well. Maybe they could bring a map back, man. I mean, maybe I cursed York Excelsior.
I mean, it's possible. I do think New York was not really playing just normal, solid Overwatch. I almost feel like you play the Hunters, you kind of get caught into their vortex of craziness, and like, oh man, they're having fun just like going for brawly fights. We're going to go for that too. But the problem that New York had in a lot of these fights is that they were banking. Like, this is a meta where you need a lot out of your Genji. Who Are You was getting picked early in a lot of these fights. Like, there's no getting around that. I think Jonak was taking a little bit more risks than normal. I mean, sometimes it paid off, but other times, like, you look at the final fight, doesn't even get the Transcendence off. So, I mean, we'll see how New York plays this. I would imagine that their defense would be a lot more coordinated than their offense, just because of how it usually breaks down. But, you know, we'll see. And New York, I mean, they're taking this to spawn. This is a Havana classic.
They want to fight on the point with the Reinhardt comp they're running. If they were running another main tank, they definitely wouldn't. Like, if they're running Winston, they wouldn't want to fight this. But they're just trying to say, look, I'm going to blow up the Wrecking Ball early because he just can't compete with our damage output on the point itself.
Yeah, but Sabiel B's down. Jinbu was able to get the early isolation. Now, stuck with Who Are You as your main source of damage. Who Are You struggling a bit to build? Only 23% of the Genji. Chengdu's getting way more out of the neutral, and I mean, that's a loss for New York.
Yeah, I don't know if New York really needed to run this comp and then try to spawn cap essentially on the point. In this meta, Chengdu could just swap heroes. They didn't have to, but they could have just swapped heroes and countered, but they actually just... I mean, Lee got the kill on Sabilby, and that was just like the beginning of the end. Mano's going to swap now. But
you look at the swaps. I mean, Mono and Hoppa, they're going to be way behind on Overwatch Charge here. I mean, this is how snowballs get formed on Havana. And don't forget, Hunters don't really have to go that far. The New York, if they want to keep this even, they need a long defense here on point A. And taking out Jinmu, all right, that's a start.
Yeah, I mean, they bought some time. Now they're gonna win this fight successfully, which is really important. If they had lost this fight, then, like you said, the distance the Hunters have to go is so low. They just get ults and win. Now they're gonna get pushed back to spawn. Who Are You gets a multi-kill. He actually catches up and, in fact, laps or passes rather Jinmu, who was significantly behind before, but actually gets Dragon Blade like 1 second faster. Tell me your feed didn't stop too.
No, my feed is still going.
Okay,
so
okay, my feed's good now. It stopped for a second for me.
I was ready to go full solo cast. Like, I've been waiting for this moment all season long. Usually I'm the one that disconnects. But, you know, it's play-by-play time anyway, so you get to hold for a moment. Who Are You at the blade? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Absolutely nothing goes right. Gets stuck in a minefield. And now Jinmu has a blade. Doesn't have to worry about mines on the other end. Chengdu with a real opportunity to move in.
Yeah, I mean, Late Young's rezzed here. Jinmu's blade comes out. Insane value.
To immediately a far more effective Dragon Blade, and you know, I hate to bring out the old term here, Wolf, but you look at this right now and it's kind of a Genji difference.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I mean, Who Are You had his incredible moment on the A attack where he was able to save the day for just a moment and keep the cart pushing. If he hadn't had that moment, in fact, the map would be ending right now. But still, New York need to respect this comp. They do have the sound barrier. They're going to go for the fight, but here comes Grav.
In, Jinmu there in the fall through. Who Are You taken down immediately? Got caught by that grab. Chengdu gonna be getting point A. Now, New York did burn out a decent amount of time, but this is still like 3-4 fights in a row that New York has to take, and New York hasn't looked that consistent here on Havana.
Yeah, and all it's gonna take, like right now New York has the ult advantage, but all it's gonna take is one fight, and then New York is gonna be behind in ultimates, and then they're gonna have to defend for like 2+ minutes. They just took our picture-in-picture away, man. Took that away from us.
We can't eat. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Jinmu did take down a lot of people.
Okay, so right now, this is like the fight in New York. If they ideally they would love to win this fight with only like Coalescence or something, where they don't even have that yet. They're like almost there. They need to be as old efficient as possible.
I think New York. Yeah, you look at Uppa. I mean, you want to be efficient as possible. You grab the start, and wow, when you really think Late Young is the problem. But Jinmu's also kind of a problem. 3 in the back to Jinmu. Chengdu revived. The halftime speech, inadvertent as it is, will might have brought the Hunters back to the break. That's right, we're going to steal a little bit of credit as New York is crumbling on Havana. Still going to have ourselves a series from the looks of it.
That's what they want, and that's what we're going to get. At least we're going to get a map 4 here as New York just get totally outclassed.
Hang on. Goryu's down. I mean, it's still very likely map 4, but New York's buying enough time that, okay, this is a little bit questionable for Chengdu. If they don't clean it up soon, you're seeing more and more New York players back onto the payload. You don't want to mess with this for too long. You take down both tanks. All right, that's good. We're going to map 4.
We're going to map 4. It was a little bit scary for a second there. Okay. Late Young, pretty good Zarya player. New York,
yeah,
a little bit sloppy on a lot of those fights. Is it time to sub Haksal in? I don't think they will, but
no, that's actually, I was going to ask the same thing. I'm like, how much of a statement is it from New York? I mean, I feel like it's morale crushing almost to the player if all of a sudden you go, ooh, we lost a map. If they sub out Who Are You and bring in Haksal, I mean, it makes sense on paper, but I just feel like if they do that, you're just never going to see Who Are You again. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a tough move for New York to make right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was overall impressed with Chengdu's handling of the map. They played pretty standard, minus the Wrecking Ball, but the Wrecking Ball was executed really well, and they paired it well with the Zarya to build up high energy. Late Young was constantly at super high energy, so I want to see more like this. This is like the kind of win I wanted to see from Chengdu. This, even if they were going to lose it, I'd like to see them play it like this, with a strategy that looks really well prepared. Yeah. Maybe they can bring it back. I don't think so, but hey, one step of the way already there.
Well, like we said, sometimes you enter into the Hunter zone and maybe the door has been opened. New York fans just look at this going, no, I don't want any part of this. But we'll see where we go. Chengdu's still alive. Can they continue to bring it back? Find out in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
After what was a brutal First half leaving more questions than answers. Chengdu goes Havana, flips the script a little bit, takes a map off New York, and they're still facing elimination, Wolf, but 2-1, things look a little bit more bright than I think anyone thought they might for Chengdu after those first 2 maps.
Young, I mean, good old miraculous youngster coming back into play. Late Young is looking great on the Zarya. He looked pretty good on Control. The rest of his team was, playing non-meta heroes, so it was hard to really shine in a situation like that. But when Chengdu was playing overall fairly normal, with their own spin on things, right, Among on the Wrecking Ball, it worked out pretty well. Jinmu had a better Genji game than Who Are You did. And, I mean, the rest is kind of history, right? We've already seen how it played out in real time. Our next map is actually cut off on my screen, so I can't tell you what it is. I was going to ask you, but then I realized that we don't have it up on the screen. I actually don't have the next map ready.
No.
I was about to jump into discussion about the next map. Numbani is the next map.
Ooh.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
God-tier producer in the ear, man. He's on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's saving us from ourselves. But, okay, Numbani, now we've entered true craziness, because if there's any map in Overwatch where anything can happen, and this goes back to the beginning of the time, it's Numbani. I mean, there's a reason why we used to call it the lab, and if there's any mad scientist team of Overwatch, it's Chengdu, so, all right. I don't know what to expect.
I personally feel like Numbani has historically been Mono's best Winston Zarya map, and his A point controls on Numbani last season of Overwatch League during the GOATS meta, they were so good. So I really like New York's chances here, though, of potentially even getting a full hold on A if the execution is, a little bit better than what we saw in Havana. Well, I feel like New York is just naturally gifted at holding A on Numbani. It's a different New York roster than last year, very, very significantly, but I think the 2 most important players that really made the big plays there were Jonak and Mono. And to a certain extent, Nene as well, but he was playing Zarya then, and he's not on Zarya now. So, I don't know. It's hard to say if they're going to have that same sort of choke point control on Numbani with the Zarya bubbles, getting high energy. It's hard to say, but that's what I think of when I think of New York Excelsior and Numbani is Mono just thrashing people.
Yeah. Now,
So.
we do have a little bit of a delay as we're waiting for the teams to get ready, and we can't see the rosters, but I am just very curious to see if we're going to see any sort of sub from New York where, I mean, I think if you were the most ruthless coach ever and you're going, how do I make the series get over? Because I really do think part of New York had checked out towards the end of that Havana. New York was so incredibly sloppy that, they had to get their bell rung by Chengdu to go hey, wait, you still got a game to play. Now, if you're New York, do you do something like sub in Libero? Do you sub in, more likely Hoxel over Who Are You? I mean, I do think that is the logical thing to do here to get this over with. I mean, we don't know why they went the starting roster they did, but I don't know.
Nene's in for Saebyeolbi is what we just got confirmed to us in terms of the subs. So that's not a shocker.
No.
We're going to a map where, you're definitely going to want the Ashe, I think, more than McCree. And Nene has kind of been the go-to Ashe player in general. Not always, but generally speaking. So not a big shocker that would be the case. For Chengdu, I'm just looking to confirm. But, yeah, no subs on Chengdu's side. Same roster.
Yeah. I think the one sub that would just blow my mind if it were to happen where, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense, but if Chengdu randomly decides, we're going to take Late Young out, I think I would have exploded on air. I would have turned myself into a bomb and blown up my room, and that would have been the end of the cast. We would have taken out the camera, and, that would have been it. But no, Late Young's still in, so we're good.
Yeah, I think they're probably just going to continue to run, Zarya comps like everyone else is. If they want to run Among's Wrecking Ball with the Zarya, with the Genji Tracer, that kind of style, anything, as long as they don't run the Echo here or the Pharah, I'm pretty much okay with anything for Chengdu. I'm pretty much okay with anything.
It's Numbani first. There is a very good chance Jinmu is coming out on the Pharah.
I know, but that's what I'm worried about.
No, but you should be worried. This is highly likely to happen.
I'm just saying I personally approve of pretty much anything except that. As long as Lei Young's on Zarya, okay. If Veltal on the Mercy, it starts to make sense.
Wolf, you're like the dad that's oh, I sure hope my child does well at the exam. And then you also have noticed that said child never studying and being out partying every night. And you're just like, but maybe they'll have good results. And you're just really hyping yourself to think that you're going to see the good result and not see what you logically expect.
I'm just hoping my, metaphorical son, in this case, Chengdu Hunters, does the right thing. Okay? I just hope the Chengdu Hunters do the right thing. ZP.
Your metaphorical son slept until 5 p.m. yesterday and looked just completely out of their mind.
Probably because they were studying all night, right? They were practicing Zarya comps within this new Genji meta. That's why.
Yes. Come on. Well, let's show the Pharah. Just end the suspense. I really do expect the Pharah here. I mean, I'm willing to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see Chengdu bring this to 5, but
yeah. I don't want to have after Chengdu fights their way back on that really tough Havana map. They fight their way back. It's not a 3-0, and then they just attack with Pharah here, and we just have to have this sad ending where Pharah just gets blown up by New York. New York doesn't expect the Pharah either, based on the comp they're running. I mean, the D.Va here, you didn't have to run it. I'm a little bit surprised by that, but they're not running a McCree. They're not running the Ashe. And in fact, last time I saw Nene subbed in, it was for a Sombra. So, I'm still surprised we're seeing Sombra, not Ashe, but that's what New York wants to run. They want to run counter dive. Very strong on Numbani. Late Young on the Zarya.
All right. I mean, there's no Pharah to be seen.
I'm so proud.
Okay.
I told you, ZP.
You know what? Yeah. We were a little bit judgmental, perhaps. And Nene's down! Leave immediately bops Nene, the absolute worst opening New York could imagine. And now, Chengdu, an opportunity. They don't have to worry about the Sombra build. They can roll over and in, and they're just going to steal this high ground immediately.
Yep. Looks like Among wanted to grapple there, but actually is a little bit more patient. Rotate back. I kind of like how slow Chengdu's playing this. They're playing it safe. They're trying to play around Zarya energy. New York doesn't have anything like that.
It's Jonak! Ends up being a trade, but 5-on-5 is a trade you take. And the Raves comes in. This is looking really good for Chengdu here so far, and I mean, now you look towards who are you. You have to carry more of it here until Nene gets EMP, but they're out of time.
If a team starts falling apart like New York did, there's just no recourse when you're running, Zenyatta May, or sorry, excuse me, Zenyatta Mercy. It's been a long night. Support duo because they're both solo healing. I mean, Mercy has high heal output, Zenyatta not so much, but they don't have anything like Moira, Lucio. And your team is just kind of at the whims of, can my DPSs turn this fight around, or is it just over? There's no bounce back otherwise.
Okay, Nene's just getting dominated by Leaf right now. Okay, the resurrection is there, but this can't keep happening. You can't have the Ashe just completely crush your Sombra. Or just please get off Sombra. Okay, who are you? Gets caught by Jinmu. There's such a DPS difference. There's the blade. It just gets worse. New York is starting to get crushed by Chengdu.
Was Chengdu just trolling us at the beginning?
Maybe.
Was this actually just is this some sort of practical joke where they just memed on the first map, second map it was a little bit awful, but third and fourth map they come in and actually play a meta composition and play it really well. I mean, again, the Wrecking Ball is not exactly meta, but it does come in as the place of Winston, and it's a fair substitute.
Well, someone took out a psychological hit on New York fans. That's what I'm finding right now. It's the New York fans are in trouble. They didn't realize it, but they were the target all along. Chengdu just completing the contract. This is where you just gets dumpstered. Runs into Among's mines. Oh man, the momentum continues. Chengdu's reborn.
I mean, let me say something that might upset some people, might confuse some people. If Chengdu dominates this map, dominates it, and we go to a game 5, that does not make this a good series. It might be hype for some people. It is a game 5, factually, objectively. But was it a good series if that happens? I don't know. The answer is yes. Is it a long series? Is it a game 5 series? Yes. Is it a good series? I don't know if we know the answer to that just yet.
It's a unique series. This is a series you expect to see after Sideshow offers you things you picked in the forest. You're just you don't know what you're gonna see, but you do see who are you getting blown up consistently. That's the one thing. It doesn't matter what state of mind you're in. Who are you hitting the ground?
Yep. Late Young here, just beaming down the D.Va. There's the hack coming through.
Transcendence in. New York finally showing some signs of life here after just getting crushed by Chengdu. And, you know, we didn't really set the stakes in the Bonnie. Let's not forget, you can be super fast in the Bonnie and just get destroyed on point C. This is one of the hardest points in the game to actually get through.
You have to go down this like Z-shaped path, and you have to go through a tunnel on your way as well. It's very, very difficult. I think this is going to be... Well, I'm not entirely sure what this is going to be, to be honest. Our observers just kind of choose sometimes. Okay, the trance. Yeah, that was actually max range. It was perfect. Doesn't matter because they end up losing the fight anyways, but good play by Molly.
Mono's in danger. Mono just got run over. Apong chases down, and where's the support for Mono there? I mean, Mono within his rights to just go team. This is bad for New York.
This is looking like an insane time bank to me, ZP. Jonak's trance is like, who is he even trancing for right now?
I mean, himself. The only person in his mind that may deserve it at the moment.
Oh no, then it didn't even touch on time.
We're losing our minds.
This is kind of like I have never cast an Overwatch series like this before.
This is
like I look at
is.
this and I'm like, New York, I'm like, this is like suspiciously bad. Like, can someone call and confirm that like a bunch of people didn't break the New York? Like, remember New York announced recently that all their players were playing at some facility? Can we just make sure that nobody broke in and like took all the players away and had like 6 randos from the street like sit down in the chairs and like it says who are you playing, but it's not him. Like it says Miles playing, but it's not him.
Yeah.
It was like 6 top 500 players in Korea were just like, you know what, it's my turn. Invade the New York house and sit down. Like as an analyst in this case, like there's not much I could say where I could explain to you why this is occurring. I can tell you that Chengdu is playing a more normal composition. It's stronger against what New York is running, and that is part of the reason why they struggled on the first 2 maps. But I can't explain to you who our U's play.
I got a theory. It's probably not accurate, but New York thought they'd be done with this early. They thought they could enjoy spicy noodles, very spicy noodles, right before the match. Problem is, stomach boom. It's been too long. They went past their time limit, and now Chengdu has the advantage.
You can go check that out on my YouTube channel. I had Spice News the other day. I got boom. I don't know about that.
This is the most seamless plug I've ever heard in my life. But now here comes Nene on his grand adventure to not get one shot by leave. This time on Sombra. Did not work out well the last time. Maybe it'll be better this time.
It's actually a crazy translocator location as well. I don't think Chengdu is going to expect him to come from that angle if he translocates, you know, and then comes back. So that's very risky, but I like it. That's what leaves. He's spamming these corners. That's probably how he's killed him several times.
Also,
doesn't get him this time.
Jonak down, and oh boy, that's a good counter dive by the Hunters, but so sloppy from New York. And also Nene just kind of like, back here, 23% off.
Well, I mean, yeah, his translocator location is so strange, and he just gets spotted immediately. Now he's gonna run away and join the rest of his team, but this is just so much time bought already.
Also, you're a minute in and only 43% charged on Sombra. Things are going terrible for you right now.
And
please
I mean,
reconsider.
Hoppa's trying to remech. Like, he just now got back into his mech. So many things are going wrong for New York here from the start. Chengdu looked clean on this composition. Ooh, that was
smooth.
Yeah, that was nice. That pile driver.
You'll love to see it. This is why known as the hamster god. Still, a lot of people's eyes still is mines ready to go. They scored orb, and New York, I mean, this is not a smooth New York offense. They're looking intimidated, Wolf.
I mean, Nene still doesn't have his ultimate. No. That can't be happening.
I mean, Nene's not even in a fight half the time. Nene's off shopping in Nambani. I don't know what else to tell you. New York, though, they are getting more positioning on the point. They're close to very good ultimates, but here comes Jinmu looking to crush some dreams, cut it apart. Throw him back, though. Among down, Blade about to be over, and now Chengdu facing some real trouble. Maybe they throw out the Bob. Jinmu just barely able to get away. Bobble by a little bit of time. No, who are you's blown up? Just when New York has things going their way, Who Are You goes down and leave. Makes his presence known once more.
It feels like Chengdu's anti-Sombra play is insanely good. Molly's Transcendences have been very, very solid, but also their spy checking has been why Leave has gotten so many kills on Nene. It's Among also checking nonstop as well and identifying where Nene is, which is why he translocated so, to turn that into a verb, so far away from, you know, he put his translocator so far away from the point to try to be safer, but it's cost him in his build time. They only have 70 seconds left. He does have this, but if Molly just transcendences it,
okay, Jinmu's down. This should be a good start. Okay, who are you goes for Blade or EMP here? I guess they want to try and save the EMP, but okay, Blade forces out Transcendence. New York gets part of the point, but they also lose the ability to combo EMP and Blade, and Chengdu can come back into this. Late Young still has the grab. Okay, Amon's immediately dead. That was not well timed, and Chengdu giving this up? I think they are.
They should.
I mean, yeah, especially now.
And,
very much.
You know, a lot of the time you feel like Blade can't work without EMP, especially, you know, in an anomalous meta like this, but they force out the Transcendence, they traded properly, they had an opening kill as well, you came in to get the first kill, but now they get to keep all these very critical ultimates. They're still very unlikely to match Chengdu's time, but they're going to have some pretty smooth sailing here through the Streets phase on paper with no Transcendence to counter this EMP. That should be a free team fight win for New York, as long as they're decisive about it.
I mean, one would think. This is also one of the weird areas in the map where I don't think there's a great reason for it, but EMPs just kind of mess up here on this part of the body. Going for the pretty deep blade, not a great immediate reward. Among falls immediately. So, okay, New York, they deal with the blade. But
it's actually a pretty good
PS result. Yeah,
it's a pretty good trade for Chengdu, I have to say. Like, they're buying a lot of time here. They get the grab off.
Grab deals with mono. It's not bad at all for Chengdu.
I think Chengdu's in a fantastic position here. Like the shutdown of the EMP was solid. They traded 1-for-1. They already have the superior time bank. Then they get a grab off.
It's a far superior time bank. I mean, New York is kind of the weird spot where, like, even if they finish now, it's probably gonna be an overtime unless Chengdu just disappears. Just like super likely. No, Ryu just keeps eating dynamite to the face over and over again. He's just getting blown up like he's a Looney Tunes character.
I think Chengdu figured out the comp that makes sense for them, and it's this one. Leave on the Ashe, incredible anti-Sombra, incredible anti-Genji. You know, Jinmu's Genji is always going to be good, right? But then you've got Late Young Zarya to back it up. Among just doing what he does best on this Wrecking Ball. And this is the Chengdu that made people fans of Chengdu. It's like you're doing something different, but it all makes sense, and you can appreciate the effort that comes into building a composition like this, practicing a composition like this, and making it work.
What's the coordination? Blade with shield, and okay. It was a little bit too much. Like, the coordination was there, but it's kind of the 1v6 play. 2v6, if you count the shield, not great. Jinmu ends up fighting it, but it was weird. I mean, who are you basically used to play just to kill Jinmu, and as a result, Chengdu still standing. Who are you feeds his life away? And Chengdu still has a chance here. They got the Bob out, Among's in the back, Leave is uncontested. And I mean, New York's gonna lose this fight.
Yeah, and they only have one more for B. They have to win this fight, and Molly has Trance. But Hoppa's delayed. I mean, it gets even worse. It just gets worse and worse all the time here for New York.
I think this is map 5, unless Nene has
so.
the EMP of the gods.
Molly, if he trances here and they grab, like, how can New York win this? I mean, they have Primal, but that's not going to be great. Okay, Jinmu could throw his life away. That would definitely make things easier, but he's not going to.
No,
like, I don't see Chengdu messing this up. They're going to get a Valkyrie in the longer fight. They're going to have a minefield to contest the point. Prove me wrong, New York. I want to see it.
I mean, Mono is channeling every bit of latent energy. Nene, staying here in the back, goes back, looking for Leave, who's been a spoiler. Who's still alive, gets away from all that pressure. Late Young, super low, down. Mono goes in, EMP, good enough. But the problem is for New York, this just gets them alive for a little bit longer. The map's not over yet. And in fact, they're still in a really bad position even as they get this point.
New York they went for the right-click hack and got into a really nice position. And Mono was there for the set play to get the opening pick. And Molly didn't react quickly with the trance because in his mind, like you were saying, he's not playing for winning on B. He's like, all right, yeah, let him do it. We'll just win the next fight or the next EMP fight with the trance I still hold. He was playing for that condition, but they could have won that fight, but they're just playing for winning the map, not winning B. But in the long term, this is actually the more correct play.
Yeah, also New York just has to go super fast here. They need to finish with just 1 second remaining. Okay, Jinbu. New York does not have the resources left. Jonak just now got Transcendence right as he got sliced to bits. So that's a fight that New York really couldn't do anything about. And also the fact that they lost that fight, Wolf, I mean, they're not finishing with time left at this point. Not happening.
Now, Jonak has Trance. Chengdu can't force the Trance to be used before Grav. So there's ways that this actually goes well for New York and they get a finish here.
Well, that's
especially if they get the opening pick.
Also, Among, I don't think is in a great spot behind enemy lines right now. He can roll away to a degree, but New York's about to get a lot of progress. I mean, okay, here's the thing that terrifies New York fans most. All they need to win the next fight is a good blade from Who Are You? Good luck.
All
now,
right,
the Transcendence is going to be on the way, so at least needs to get the Transcendence.
Yeah, and he's not going to have high energy from the start. Among is helping with that. Trying to force this Trance.
Doesn't blink. Graviton. The Hunters out. They get Mono down. Here comes Who Are You looking to equalize the blade. Throw and dashes into the mines. Oh, the tragedy before our very eyes, Wolf. And the Hunters, they're about to hold here in the body. They're about to force a map 5.
It's happening.
Crazier turnaround. We've entered the zone. It's real.
We have entered the Chengdu zone. We have done it. It's here. It's happening in real time. ZP, we just watched 2 of the most one-sided games I've cast in APAC this year into Chengdu fighting their way through a sloppy New York game in Game 3, then in Game 4, dominating them and outplaying them at every turn. This is the comp. This is the squad that Chengdu should be using. This is their chance to make right the last few losses they've had in a row here in Asia. This is a strong Chengdu. This is the Chengdu the fans have been waiting for.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't care how the series ends now. This goes in the books as just like one of the most mind-blowing series I think either of us have ever casted in. Look, we go pretty far back in Overwatch, so I don't know what's happening. It's like 7 a.m. where I am, but you know what? I'm along for the ride. Everyone else should be too. We got a thrilling conclusion coming your way right after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
We tried to sell the script to this match to Hollywood during the break. They wouldn't buy it. It was too unbelievable. They said it's not realistic. And yet here we are, Chengdu, 2 maps, New York, 2 maps, in one of the craziest swings of momentum I think we've ever seen in Overwatch or Overwatch League itself. We've entered just new territory here, Wolf.
Well, I do have to point out that CP disagreed with my casting choice of Tom Cruise for Among, but and I had, you know, Who Are You was going to be played by.
You've really put this on yourself.
No, who would? Yeah, I have put this on myself. Who would play Who Are You?
I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about a character with range? Maybe Christian Bale, because he can go from like one high to a low like really quickly. I don't know.
I mean, it could
look,
be.
I'm not Achilles.
Rain could play. I mean, Rain could play Who Are You? I could see it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a possibility. But
like I look at this series and I said, like, is it a good series? Like, depends on your definition of good. Like, for me as an analyst, I'm like, nope, absolutely not. Like, this is a series. If you're casting a Chengdu match coming up, like, yeah, you probably should watch this series. Like, as a caster, as an analyst, I tell you, I'm like, yo, I missed the games last night. It was late. Like, first of all, shame on you for missing the games. But should I watch these games? I'm like, if you're a Chengdu fan or if you're an analyst studying to prepare for like Chengdu's next series, yeah. If you're an analyst who's not gonna, work like if Hex calls me, he's like, yo, should I watch that? I'd be like, no, absolutely do not waste your time. Do not waste your time. This match has thrills, excitement. It has like an unexpected storyline. The ending we still don't know, but it's probably it's a cool ending either way. But do you look at it and go like, wow, this was like technically sound, high level Overwatch from start to finish? You say absolutely not. The answer to that is no.
There's some cross-sport New York fans here, and I mean, some of the vibes I get from New York in this last half, I mean, it's butt fumble territory where you just like drop the ball because you run into your own linebacker's butt. That's like the same energy I'm getting from New York right now. But the same note, I mean, Chengdu has really cleaned things up, doing really well. It's just like to have this crazy of a turnaround where one team that was playing so well just stops, and the other team that was playing just full crazy town becomes real.
Yeah.
All in the course of halftime, like, what is going on?
Well, we have something weird going on at the start here. Nene and Sabilby are playing together, which could mean Tracer Sombra.
It means double hit scan. Almost certainly.
Nene has played Genji on like very rare occasion, but not extremely well, and it's usually pretty emergency. So yeah, double hit scan player, two hit scan players are in the lineup. It looks like it's going to be McCree Sombra, which is pretty rare and just quite uncommon as a combination. It's much more common to see McCree Tracer. But I mean, this is not a bad comp. It's kind of a catch-all too. Like if they end up running far or something really ridiculous, you've got you've got the answer for that. But it is going to be Chengdu just saying, look, I mean, this has been working. This is it. Like this is, if you're a Chengdu fan, this is it. Among on the wrecking ball with Late Young Zarya and Genji Ash. This is it.
Also, Amon looking fearless, more than tanky damage, just takes out Samuel B. No fear, an unstoppable force of nature. Oh man, I mean, Nene alone isn't going to do anything in this fight at this point. You're down Samuel B. I mean, essentially, you're down on damage. You're hoping Jonak can be damaged, but you put Jonak on Moira. Jonak's not carrying you out of this on Moira. Chengdu should be able to get first control. We're going to get the res. New York, though, still fighting for it. They lose mono. Hunters, though, flip it.
Yeah, there's no backbone here for New York in this fight anymore. Then he might look for a little bit more ult charge, but realistically, they're going to have to regroup. New York needs to invest in dealing with Among's Wrecking Ball better. And whether that's focusing him down, running a Zen, and getting a Discord Orb, looking for the flashbang, I mean, there's got to be something. I mean, hacking him, he shouldn't be able to 1v1 a Sombra.
Yeah, I was going to say, how is Amon bullying a Sombra of all heroes this badly? That really isn't how that should work, but, you know, you turn on full Hamster God mode, I guess it works.
How embarrassing would this loss be for New York as well if they end up losing this game in reverse sweep?
Incredible. Like, I think it goes up there as potentially the worst non-playoff. Jinmu's blade though, doesn't do too much. Blade for Graviton comes out a little bit after. Still forced out of people from New York though, and they weren't really in danger, so I mean, Hunter's still kind of okay, especially if Late Young can stay alive, keep energy, leave out of the fight. Late Young, the next person being focused is Savior will be on Tracer. I want to talk about an old hit from New York. Savior will be on Tracer, often a hero.
Yeah, I mean, things are starting to come back together here for New York. I think they should hold the EMP if they can. As tempting as it is to use it to guarantee and to cut some of that percentage, you've got to hold it. They do hold it. And now they can operate around the front of this choke. Say Bilby's going to stick with the Tracer. I don't think you want to swap in this situation. Not right now.
No,
they've got to be careful of the blade, too. Like, they don't have a sound barrier. Hunters could just take this away if they mess up anything. They make one mistake.
Very much could. Among's going to be looping around the back. I mean, I think the key here for Nene is you want to win the EMP as long as possible, make sure Chengdu's committing. But Chengdu also, I mean, they're playing around the EMP pretty well with how they're engaging individual angles. Blade comes from Jinmu. This is where you have to use the EMP, but already lost Animo. Nene, EMP's a little bit later. It's not anywhere near as impactful as it should be. Chengdu's still in the fight, 5-on-5, only Late Young out. But Hoppa, he matters into his own hands, finds Vettel, but it's Among on the other end! Knocks Jodak off the side, and Jinmu's still unchecked.
Among's playing so well right now. He came in, too, at such an unpredictable angle. I mean, New York should have been tracking him. They weren't, but he came in at a good angle, set up the Dragon Blade, and then he's able to get that follow-up knockoff. He does get stunned here and taken out, but
I mean,
it's actually anyone's fight to take. This is crazy.
No, New York's in a crazy good spot. Hey, Jinmu back to the fight, finds Manu.
So you think so, but yeah.
Oh boy.
Chengdu actually had the numbers advantage, and even though New York had a positional advantage, you know, you come in with a fight like this, despite the pulse coming out from Say Bilby, and Chengdu just takes it away with dash resets. Leave gets a kill.
They only have beats.
Yeah. That's it.
Nene's not going to be doing much at all.
They might get Coalescence in the long fight if they can fight it out that long, but that's a big ask here.
Also, they're going to beat to engage. Jinmu's about to get played. Jinmu can wait this out. Go in with the blade after the beat. Jinmu, okay, it's beat and blade at the same time. What's Jinmu going to get? Not the greatest immediately, but Jinmu still finds one. 5-on-5. Mono looking very low. Chengdu a little bit healthier. Yuvetto gets caught. Mono sacrificing his body for it, still somehow alive. In New York, not quite out of this round yet, despite how low Mono and Hoppa both are. Look at Late Young. Late Young's charged up. On the point. Good energy. Drops the grab. New York in real danger as Chengdu continues to hold.
Okay, here comes the minefield as well. New York just can't have any point presence here. Nene's so close to EMP, I don't know if he's going to get it. He doesn't.
Wolf, we are almost to what would be one of the most ridiculous, if not the most ridiculous reverse sweep in Overwatch history.
I cannot believe what I am seeing. I mean, I don't know if I want to say it's the most ridiculous reverse sweep we've ever seen. We have seen some crazy ones, but it's definitely going to take the cake for the most recent, you know, crazy reverse. We've had a few this season for sure, but like this one is pretty ridiculous, okay?
Well, Wolf, if Chengdu wins, there's going to be some very sad New York fans because you know there's New York fans that stayed up, saw the quick 2-0, was like, I'm just going to go to bed, this is over. They're going to wake up tomorrow morning, potentially, and see Chengdu with the 3-2.
Chengdu just tweeted, "You're in the Chengdu zone now, baby." They literally just tweeted that, here we go, we're in the Chengdu zone. And Nene, he's you know, people always say Chengdu always pulls teams down to their craziness, and I'm always like, no, don't be silly. But Nene's playing Junkrat right now on Lijiang Tower. Junkrat's been buffed a little bit, but I don't know about this one.
Almost dead. Oh, it's happening, Wolf. We're in a simulation. There's no other explanation.
I'm living through a script. I didn't know the script. I'm living through a script. This isn't real. This isn't real, TP.
No, it's real. The reality is that it's not real. We're having an existential crisis just as much as New York loses Animo again, twice in a row. Oh my word! This is gonna be Chengdu control.
This comp for New York, it's not an amazing anti-wrecking ball comp. I think that's the idea behind it, but like, this is not a good comp. And now they change after they've lost the first fight. They already built up a decent amount of ultimates.
And now they go to the Sombra?
And Hunters are going to have 60% of a grab. They're going to have trance first before sound barrier is ready. It feels like the series is over. It feels like the reverse sweep's already done. I'm looking at this side, you know, I've been wrong about how this series is going to go for the last two maps, but I think I'm right now. New York really need to turn this around.
Chengdu is real close to the successful assassination of the psyche of every New York fan that's still up. They're on the brink. The bomb. It's out early here from Chengdu. New York in a rough spot, and Sabiel B gets bopped by Leave, who continues to just ruin the New York DPS. Doesn't matter who it is.
I mean, this is a disaster. Wrecking Ball gonna have mine soon. Among is so ready. Look at Nene. 17% is all he built.
He's not doing anything. I'm gonna channel Monty. Monty, his famous Eska, is doing nothing. Nene is doing nothing. Down again, even in a fight, New York is winning.
He's taken out, but this looks like a flip here. Among's gonna try to buy time. He can use the minefield here, but I don't think he should. Just gonna buy some time. They're gonna regroup. Look for a big grab fight coming up with the blade. Nene, if he had EMP, it'd be the perfect answer. Your sound barrier alone isn't gonna cut it. And sound barrier is gonna buy you some time. It certainly will, but 69% here, and they're looking for the last 30.
Nice.
Oh, no barrier.
Again. Leave continues to just ruin Animo.
That might be the map. That might be the series.
Young's ready for the grab. Leave gets Nene down. Leave is unstoppable. Force of nature. Jinmu in the back corner, slashing people up. And Chengdu back on the point, back in control, one fight away from the reverse sweep.
Things couldn't have gone worse for New York. How do you lose your two most important heroes? How do you lose Anamo first? Chengdu, hunt him down, find him. He should have been playing better, safer. He should have been further back. He should not have been hunted down so easily. They're going to have to look for the sound barrier into the late EMP, but I mean, look, Late Young's got the grab. They've got Transcendence here. How does New York pull this off?
I mean, they hope that the Chengdu magic fades. Mono leaps in. Mono, though, so close yet so far from the primal range. Save will be forced to rewind early. Amon drops the mines. Mono on a whim and a prayer, barely saved by Animo's beat. But how long can he live to primal range? No! Leave takes him down one more time. The unstoppable Ash from above. The dynamite into the heart of New York. And now New York praying, looking for the miracle. It's happening, Wolf. We have entered the zone. Chengdu about to complete the reverse sweep. Overtime ticking on down. It's just the last little bit delay. Nene is out. Mono's back in. The Primal still in reserve. And how much more does New York have left? Can they defy history? Can they somehow, some way, bring this back for the break? No, they can't! Chengdu's done it! A 3-2 reverse sweep.
Unbelievable. I cannot believe it. Anyone who watched end of game 2, like, would have. I think a lot of people probably went to bed. If you're a Chengdu fan, you're like, well, that's it. There's no way I'm going to bed. If you're a New York fan, you're like, I don't even need to see how this ends. I already know. I already know. I bet a lot of people are going to wake up tomorrow and be like, no, I swear I watched that game 2. That series was over.
It defies expectation. It defies reality.
Now,
I mean,
was that a good series, EP? No. But was it a game 5? Was it exciting? Was it surprising? Did it break expectations? Yes. And like,
yes.
And finally we got, I think if you're a Chengdu fan, the exciting part is you found the comp. Throughout a series, it took some time. Found the comp. You found the players, the lineup you probably want to use for this hero pool. And the execution was good when they finally got to that point. Now, New York made a lot of crazy mistakes, and like some things are like just straight up like too weird for me to believe that like Anamo would like die kind of out in the front lines when has sound barrier and it's the only hope for New York to win that fight. Like, I mean, you can't even like it's like you can't even. Like some of these moments for New York, I'm like, if you were trying to lose, that wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, New York definitely got boomed, as they say. Like, you know, we talk about mental boom in Korea, where you're just like, you're so frustrated. The situation is so out of your control. You're not even in control of your like hands or your fingers anymore because you're so mentally shaken. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on, but I am out of words, man.
Well, I do have some words from a more corporate end. That's right. We got our player of the match presented by Xfinity. And on the B-roll, it is Among, who definitely had a great series. But I'm putting it up there, the co-player of the match, utilizing like caster privilege here and saying I'm putting him right up there. Late Young also was the breath of fresh air to this Chengdu team. And without Late Young, this isn't happening. And also Leave in the final map.
The tank duo was definitely the strongest of this lineup. Was definitely the strongest part of how they won. Like
Yeah.
This is like actually mind-blowing, this series. Among's decision-making on the Wrecking Ball on Lijiang Tower specifically got them so many advantages and helped them win that last map so one-sidedly. But he also played really well with Late Young on the Zarya on several different occasions. Made Wrecking Ball look like not a substitution, but actually perhaps the stronger hero in that matchup versus Winston in the dive that they were running. And Among looked like himself again. He looked like a meta-making, meta-breaking Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
And I think that's he gets my vote for player of the match. I know Late Young had a great series, and he was by far the better Zarya, I think, over Hoppa, but wow. I can't believe what we just watched.
Well, can we also rewind time where, we had what ended up being a more emotional, like very real halftime speech of like what happened to the identity of Chengdu. Like, we were reading them their last rites. I mean, the first two maps didn't just look bad. I mean, it crossed from bad into sad.
Yeah, we were just like, sad. is this an Overwatch League team? Like that was basically what the question we were asking there for a moment.
Yeah.
And then here we are. Like New York lost. The end.
I want to, like, my own headcanon. I know it's not true. I mean, they're not watching it at the time, but I kind of want to feel like Chengdu almost, like, our speech was beamed and it's like, yeah, we used to really channel this energy. We can be better than we are. But then they went out and did that. They reverse swept New York. They embarrassed them. They gave New York one of the most crushing series defeats I can ever imagine for anything that's not a playoff game.
That was like a children's sports movie, man. That was like a high school football movie. Oh my God. And it turns out like the good guys do always win or something. I don't
Well, actually, we're going to find out there was a cross promotion. Like, Air Bud actually showed up, and this was like the Air Bud Overwatch crossover playing for Chengdu. Like, he was at Late Young's PC all along. That's actually what was going on. The series.
It's like a cat with like two paws playing the game. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in the Overwatch League rules that says that Air Bud can't sub in for one of the Chengdu players. Like, it's not against the rules. I don't know. But now that we're referencing ancient movies, or maybe current movies, I don't know if they kept making that series or not. Wolf, this has been a pleasure.
And thank you for helping me out, man.
Yeah. It has been a wild night in ways that I don't think we could have expected. We had the great, the not so great, and the absolutely crazy and unbelievable. Hello to everyone watching this in the morning because it was a show. But also, good night because it's like 8 a.m. here. We got to sleep. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.
Close it down.
It was a blast. Goodbye.